That's where, remember I said before that the Supreme Court has laid out all these exceptions to the warrant requirement. One of them is called exigent circumstances, where the police have probable cause. They have the mere probability that a reasonable person would believe there's contraband or something in there connected to a crime. But you're going to walk away if they don't stop you somehow, or as Craig's saying, maybe it's a bomb or something. So if there's some reason they need to get into it now, instead of waiting to get a warrant, they can get into it now because there's another exception to the warrant requirement.
Yeah, but marijuana, right, drugs, they're not going to dissipate, blow up. Once they seize the bag and they hold it, the evidence that they think is in there is not going away. There's no reason for them then to say, oh, I had to look in because I was afraid that it might, run away. No. So they got to get a warrant. Otherwise, they could say exigency, emergency, got to look in. Okay, they can't show an emergency. They can't look in, and drugs is not an emergency. But you're right. The next step, they say, no, I'm not going to let you in the bag. They got to get a warrant, unless you're under arrest. But there's even exceptions to that, right? If you're under arrest and you're in handcuffs and the bag's there at your feet, and then they move you over by the cop car, and then they can't look in the bag anymore because the argument is, well, I was afraid that he might reach for a weapon, and I was protecting myself, so I searched the area around the. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. But federal law may be different. Let your lawyer argue these points. The point is, you don't argue them at the scene. If the cop does something, you don't argue with him. If he violated your rights, your lawyer argues that later. That's the point here, okay? But yeah, the next step is the warrant, and then here's the question though. Here's the question. Do you say, well, they're going to get a warrant, so I might as well let them in. Right? I mean, they're going to get the warrant, and they're going to search my bag. I might as well just let them in because maybe it'll go easier on me. That would be a temptation, wouldn't it? Right? Well, they might not get the warrant. I want you all to hear this. If a cop says, we're applying for a warrant. Now, this is really important. I want you to pay attention. If a cop says, we're going to apply for a warrant, and you're stopped with your car on the side of the road or you got your bag. And we're going to find what we find and we're going to do what we do. So you can make this easy on yourself or make it hard. Let me see a show of hands. The cop says, we're applying for a warrant. We're impounding your car. We're going to apply for a warrant. We're going to call that judge. And how many here think that understand that to mean a warrant's coming for the car? A warrant's coming for the car with those words. I only get a couple. Yeah, you saw it. I think I wasn't. You know what? When you're out there on the street, typically, my clients invariably say, he told me he was getting a warrant. No, he didn't say that. He said, I'm going to apply for a warrant. And that's tricky. It's meant to confuse you. He didn't say I'm going to get a warrant. If he says that, there's grounds to suppress your consent. All this legal talk. It's really important. Don't think that it's just a foregone conclusion, okay?
So the moral of the story is do not consent.
They say, I'm going to get a warrant.
Yeah, they go both ways, okay? They can't say that because they don't know. A judge gives them the warrant. But you let the lawyers argue all this stuff, okay? Because you guys are so confused. You're out there, and it's scary. And you don't have the wherewithal. And now it's your word against his, and it's really hard out there. I know it is. It's hard for everybody.
Well, wait a second. The excuse nowadays is, you look like a security threat. We got to check you for weapons.
Yeah.
And the story. What do you say to that?
Where are we talking about? The airport?
On the road, stand on a sidewalk.
Well, that's the thing.
I've been through all that.
That's that stop and frisk thing. I mean,
it's a weapons thing.
They have to.
You look like a security threat.
They have to articulate reasonable belief that you're armed and presently dangerous. And if they can't, and I've had cases where the cop just searched them because that's what they do. It's a standard procedure. They stop you, they search you. They can't do that. And it's misunderstood. Your lawyer should argue that they just can't stop and frisk you. There's two different standards. Stop is one thing and frisk is another. It's stop and frisk. There's two separate things going on. Okay. So anyway.
I'd also say don't walk away from the bag either. Yeah, because once you walk away from it, you abandon it, you no longer have this sort of expectation of privacy over your bag, and then it becomes sort of like garbage, right, trash. And then you give up the right to say, wait, you can't search that bag. So you want to keep it next to you, which is weird too, because then you're saying, well, that's the dope, so I want to keep that close to me so that you know that it's mine when you get the warrant. But if you walk away, they don't need a warrant. Then it just becomes a van of problem.
Gotta figure this out in advance.
Yeah, this is true.
If they get a warrant for, say, a car or anything, you get a warrant and they search the car and find another, like, locked box or something, does that warrant apply for that as well?
It's coming in.
If they have a warrant to search your car, then they can do whatever they want to your car. Right? If they are just happen to go through your car, like we talked about this search, this frisk of your car, or something along those lines, if they came to a lockbox, then they're not allowed to go into it in the certainly in the Montana system. But if they've got a warrant, it doesn't matter if it's locked or not, and they can, I mean, they can disassemble the car.
Yeah, you can take the whole thing apart, panels off, quarter panels, door panels, the whole nine yards, the one.
Let's try to take these last two questions.